firm believer that the more talent you have in a society, the better the society will grow. If Singapore depends on the talent it can produce out of 3 million people, it's not going to punch above its weight. It's because we've been drawing talent from across the globe that we have a vibrant economy which is way beyond what 3 million Singaporeans would be.
My name is Timothy Weller. I'm a senior associate at Pelham Bell Pottinger Asia. I'm 28 years old and I moved here 6 months ago and I'm enjoying it. I have a 2-year contract and we will see what happens next. I came over from an affiliate company in London where I've been working the past 3.5 years, but it's time to come to Asia, I believe. I'm part of Bell Pottinger Group, which is one of the largest PR companies in the world, and this one is called Pelham Bell Pottinger Asia, and that's the Asian operation, but it's because Pelham is an affiliate that ended up being a partner, and that's the financial one. So because I practiced that in London, it made sense to come over here and do it here. I was studying in Australia and I studied law, and it wasn't what I thought it would be, so I changed over to journalism. And when you come out of journalism, it sort of doesn't guarantee you a job anywhere because the industry changes so much. So it says you can read, write and speak, so it means that really public relations or something in that area really seems like a natural progression. So I moved across to London and found a job there, and I was there for 3.5 years. Getting the visa was fine, you just sort of had to apply. We're part of the Commonwealth, so it's easy enough. Australia's PR market is sort of doesn't have the intricacies or the size that somewhere like London or obviously New York does. So I think just going over there, they're more willing to give you a chance and go up through the ranks, as opposed to Australia, it's quite a small pond to work in. The work itself was good at first, but then we had the financial crisis, so you know, it was quite depressing. So it was an interesting time to work and cut your teeth in the industry there, but it was also sort of a scary time, and it just meant that you're in these sort of brutal situations where it's 10 companies pitching for one bit of work. Whereas you come over here to Asia, and the fact that it's booming means that there's more companies that need work. When I left there, I kept the relationship alive with my original boss, who I knew was always going to open an operation here in Asia, and it was either going to be Singapore or Hong Kong. And I pushed for Hong Kong just because I had more social networks there, but when you haven't been here before, you don't realise how different the markets are between China, Hong Kong, and Singapore. So I think I landed on my feet here. It's a great place and I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I think the market in Singapore is a bit different to Hong Kong because Hong Kong is a little bit more developed and a bit more aggressive, but I don't necessarily think that it's a better market, it's just different. This is a funny one because my boss originally pulled over and we were working for Temasek, and he came over and his contact there said we need to have someone with your skills, because he was sort of an old hand from London who was like, he's 75 and he's a big operator, and he was like, I'll use my knowledge over here to try and make your base here, see if our skills from England can convert to the Asian market. So there's a bit of adaptation, but we worked with them for I think it was 6 months and then turned over, and then it was sort of forced to go out there on the hunt and find a whole bunch of new work, which is what you've got to always do. The real reason we're taking on is because in this market you get lots of global news or lots of like China news, and it's what Singapore and Asia Pacific want to specify themselves as being, and they're becoming more and more. We're financial predominantly, and then the good thing is about Asia, you've got all these different ones that are coming up. So it's been a bad year, but we just did an initial public offering for Parks and Retail Asia, which is pretty interesting, because it's why I quit law, because it's so intricate and takes too much time. But it was fun because we got them listed just last week, and we had sort of the IPO booth at Raffles Place, and all these things, like there was the Chinese dragon opening ceremony with a gong and stuff like that, which is unique to this area, and that was interesting. But besides, it's varied, which is why PR is pretty interesting, really, because you don't just get stuck with one type of work or one type of client. We've got, over here in Asia, we've got GAR, which is Golden Agri Resources, which is a huge palm oil company based in Indonesia, and they took us on as crisis management because they sort of were getting attacked by Greenpeace for some of their practices and their corporate governance and that type of thing. So that was really interesting because we were taken on in order to try and improve their relationship with Greenpeace and all these NGOs and just get information to them saying that they're trying to improve practices and they're doing this and that. And that's sort of one of the roles we take. And then under my management, we've got Lombard Odier, which is a big private banking client. And with all these Swiss banks coming over here, there's lots of competition, so they really need to use us to find their niche and really find what their key message and key selling point is in sort of a crowded market. And then it varies to other ones like telecommunications companies, and we've got a big oil and gas shipping company, which is a local Singaporean family, so that's the angle we always push for them, is that the Singapore company done well. And yeah, so it's pretty varied and pretty far. What I've found is that also they're very aware of their spending of money and they really know how to get their money's worth. So it's kind of not as freewheeling and dealing as London. It's still got quite a mentality that you really need to work long hours and work hard. I think it's a new thing for them because they're slightly just coming into it now, but I think PR, like perception of a company and support and having people see your point of view is so important, and I think that in times of crisis, the first things that get cut are advertising and PR, and you know, maybe that's the time when they can be the most useful, because that's when you need to shout about the fact your company's doing well, or shout about the fact that stuff might have happened, but you're controlling the way it's going to go forward. So I think here in Singapore and Asia in general, it's an exciting time to be a part of it. I've got a 2-year contract, and then you can renew it, and I found a bit of a sea change here with other young professionals I know is to stay in Singapore for a few years, then I think they get itchy feet and they go to Hong Kong or something. But I'm not sure if that's the way forward for me. I could, maybe if we open an office in New York or something exciting and try something else completely new next. But that's in the future, who knows.